my name is Nga, and I'm now in Hanoi, Vietnam as an English teacher. And I'm so excited to be here to give my talk on creative teaching, experiential learning methods. So without any further ado, let me take you quickly to my flow for today. All right, so today I'm going to lead you guys through each section. First of all, I'm going to give you what the concept of experiential learning in case you never really applied it that much, and I'm going to give you some key components to differentiate it with traditional learning methods. Also, this part will be a waiting for some of my examples that I did actually in my class and the resources in case you want to try it out with your own classroom, then where can you take it? And also, even though that I tries a lot, but it also have its strengths and weaknesses. So I do expect that we can also have further improvement in the future and have better education for all of every children in the world. Okay, so what is experiential learning method? Well, this concept was formulated by educational theorists like John Dewey, Jean Piaget, and the most recently would be David Kolb. But I would love to make this part a little bit more interactive. So, I put some fill in the blanks in here for you guys to join in with me. So, okay, now John Dewey was first introduced the idea for this one, and he say education should be rooted in real, well, something in there. So I have three options for you to join. A, imagination, B, experiences, and C, information. Well, teachers, can you please type your answer in the chat box for me and join in this as a quick game? You guys all go with experiences and B. Wonderful. Thank you. That should be the correct answer. Education should be rooted in real experience. Okay, so that's from John Dewey concept. Moving on to Jean Piaget added, he said that, okay, that's what he said. Learner build knowledge through something experience. A, hands-on experience. B, theoretical experience. Or C, secondhand. Everybody? Wow, you guys are so quick at this part. Well, everybody say A, and that is the correct one for hands-on experience. Wonderful. Now, there's one more quote from David Kolb. So David Kolb further developed this into his theory of experiential learning, and here's what he said. Learning is the process where, well, something in the blank again, is created through the transformation of experience. A, information, B, memory, or C, knowledge. I noticed you guys typed your answer even quicker than me. Okay, C is the correct answer, everybody. Thank you. And you guys all catch the idea from the three quotes of the three educational theorists, right? So we see something with the word hand-on experiences, well, knowledge gained from the experience, and that's what we can gain from the concept of it. So in general, experiential learning is a pedagogical approach where individuals learn actively engaging through hand-on experiences. Well, it also emphasizes through the doing process and also connecting the theories with the real world situation. And that is something I want to emphasize. So we're not doing it solely through the books, to the grammatical points, but we connect it with real world situations as well. So by doing that, it can also help to foster the deeper understanding for the students and also practical implication of knowledge. All right, so that's how we know about it. Now, the reason why, okay, Will asked me this question from the beginning, why I'm so into experiential learning, because it is closely linked to how we learn naturally. Well, if you reflect everything, okay, now let's see a little bit and recall, okay, one of the reasons why is that for the way we learn natural, let's have a look at this picture then, everybody, and think for the first time of how you learn how to cook or try a new recipe and how you do it. How do you learn things around your life? It's also happened to language learning as well. So when I figured out this and from David Kolb, it's still like an eureka moment for me. So that's how it works. All right, so experiential learning can also be used explicitly, like when you learn a new skills or to become better at something. If you want to master something, it's also happened the same with experiential learning, right? And that's how it's worked. Now, if you look at the flow of the picture, we can see that first we get ourselves into situation. So this should be the beginning. All right. After we reflect what happened, like what did we do it wrong? Why it happened that way? And then we try to understand the relationship between the abstracts and also the concept, link it to what we experienced earlier. Like in another way, we learn from our mistakes. For example, if I do A, I get B, right? And last, we also decide what to do differently next time, and then we do it again, and the circle just keep on repeating, 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 right? So that's how we learn it and how we better every day. And so does to our students. They learn it that way and they grow from their mistakes. Cool, right? Now, this is just only a brief circle. I would love to show you guys the further one, the more detailed one. It is from the cycle process from the experiential learning by David Kolb. It's from the 1984. And as you can see, it is divided into 4 sections, which are experiencing. So experiencing is in here mean that the learner use their senses, their perception, their feelings, and they're engaged in what is happening surrounding them. And then you see the next stage is reflecting. It's closely like the picture you've seen earlier. So reflective observation. So learner gonna think, gonna lay down, they're gonna think of what happened earlier. They connect their feelings with the ideas about the experience. And that's the time they recall. And I believe that even for us, sometimes we need time to reflect what happened too, right? And then that was the moment when the thinking process occurs. Or another way I say it, abstract conceptualization. So at this stage, learner engages in thinking to reach conclusions and form theories and concepts and also some general principles that can be tested. Okay, if you guys are not really clear about this part for thinking process, I also have another thing as my own example to make it clarified to you guys. And the last stage would be acting, or another way we call it active experimentation. So in this stage, the learner tests the theory and applies it, what they learn, and get the feedback from teachers like us, and then they create a whole new experience, and everything just circle like that again and again and again until they actually understand the whole thing. So I hope you guys know about the cycles of David Kolb now, because you're going to see it like repeat several times from my whole presentation. Okay, now for the next one, there are also some key components, like I said, to differentiate the experiential learning method to the traditional one. So what makes it different? What makes it special? And why I'm so into it? And I hope after this one, you guys also love the method as well. First of all, it is process oriented. So it's not outcome oriented. So this means that the focus is on learning process, the journey itself, not just the final product or the final answer of a student. So if you expect it to be at the outcome, not really. Then it's also involve a lot of active participation. It's also happened the same to my class as well, when the students involved in the test so that they can have real world applications together. They're really collaborative. And the next part, like I say, is very different from others, that the students have time to reflect, to stand, or so to sit down, think about it for a while, to ponder, to think. And from what they reflect, they can actually learn about it. They reflect what they did, what they learned, how they can be applied in the future. That's it. And the last thing that I consider as is a key component for this method is that it is so adaptable, meaning that it can be tailored to meet educational needs for different individuals. So that is not for the specials of this method. I prefer going to the next part. Well, this is part that I'm really waiting for to share you guys. Well, I know that a lot of you guys might apply it already, but well, you might see that sometimes the lesson that you taught in the class, sometimes all of the grammatical points, right? Cannot be compared with actually what they learn in real life. And when you make the students feel like, okay, well, I learned this grammar point because I feel like it's relevant to my life, because it's practical enough. then they will be more engaging. Well, I know that the students are really delved into, or they can learn new language when they love the language and they love the cultures of the language. So the same with everything happened to them. If they love what happens surrounding them, be helpful to them, they can use this every day, that it means you're helping them to gain a better knowledge for language learning. So here is something that I did for my class. Okay, I'm proudly say that. Well, I had some field trips to take my students to some kind of museums, to the library, to some of the tourist attractions in Vietnam, in Hanoi, for example. Yeah, and they had such a great time there, like you can see in the picture, right? I had some DIY session with my students. I made the flowers using the pipe cleaner. I had some origami paper sessions and also um, a lot more, to be honest. And the cooking, like the picture you see, right? Cooking. Well, you're not never actually making your class become a kitchen, but why not? I mean, if you can, try it. It's like a whole new experience for them, especially when they can have a bite of something after the session, their own products. And then learning through the music, they make their own musical instrument or the game. I mean, who said that the game is boring and not helpful for the kids when it actually does if you do it the right way, right? And the story or even video editing, you may think that the students cannot do it, but they can. I mean, if with clear instructions, and yes, they can. And the movie time, watching movie together, having some further discussion, right? Now, I just want to have a quick question. If you have done any of the activities like this in your class, can you type it in the chat box? Yeah, just tell me that what did you do in your class to show it's like experiential method. Please share in the chat box a little bit. Yeah, you did the music. And what else, everybody? Science experiment, the DIY, the games. Yes, you guys did it. Yeah, cool. Now, so I don't think that I have enough time to show you guys what I did in like all activities like this. There should be more, but yeah. So I'm gonna go deeper into one only one. And I think I'm gonna talk about my field trips with the students and the process of step-by-step instructions. Well, after this webinar, probably you guys gonna try it of another activities with your class. So I would love to suggest you guys one step-by-step instruction so that you can all apply it to every experiential sessions that you can suggest to your students. Okay, so so last month I had a field trip with my students to Hua Lao prison in Hanoi, Vietnam. And this is how I did to my class. Well, you can, like you see the cycles of David Kolb here again for experiential learning method. And I changed the name a little bit. For the experiencing method, I call it now immerse and collect. Now, in this section, you can see that I'm going to give my students worksheets so that they can take what they observe. For example, I give them scavenger hunt. I give them a sheet so that they can do some snapshots on their phone, and then when they go home, they can print it out to glue it there, like a collection. And then the answering the guided questions that I designed. Well, that's something that I'm normally going to do for them because I want them to observe everything surround them. It could also be the vocabulary that you taught earlier. It could also be a grammar point. Same. The second step is looking back and share. So you ask students to write out 3 things they learned or impressed the most by interviewing in pairs or groups. Yeah, and then the third step for thinking, you link and connect. So for this part, you ask the students to do some discussion, like how do the observation connect with what they learn in the class? So for example, in the last lesson, you taught them about past simple then. Then for this section, after the field trip, you ask them to write out, the past simple sentences. And also, last step, ask them to apply and create their own products, poster or videos or slides, something like that. And that would be very great if they can do the whole process. You can do the same. Remember that you can do the same to every other activities right? Even cooking or DIY with the same steps like I referred earlier. And that will be great. And for the resources, I normally take it from Twinkl. So you can type it on the searching bar for Twinkl material, and that's how you get the material resources. Also from YouTube as well. All right, now I would briefly just gonna go with briefly for the strength and the weaknesses of this part, real quick. Okay, so for this part, like I experienced, it has a lot of strength. It's like a real world connection to the children. It is encourage active engaging. It also helps students to develop soft skills like a vocational skill. Better retention, apply a lot of skill at the same time, and also inclusive for different learning styles for the children. But also I noticed some weaknesses. It's very time consuming, definitely. I mean, it takes me ages to self-design the material, right? So resource limitation, a lot of time, effort, and also money, probably. Classroom management, if you have a large classroom that is very difficult to manage. Also, because of that, you also have variable quality. Some students might like it, some students were not really into it, and also inconsistent learning outcome. So in my case, if I have like a smaller size class, it would help. But if you have like a larger classroom, we have to think about it. Right. So in the end, I would just want to conclude that experiential learning method is something that we should all apply in our class. It's a very powerful way and also help students to learn and grow from it.